eso lo sacamos.
Previously in the bikes, Coma has the lead, but he knows that anything can happen, and it probably will. To make strategies and tactics, it's very early, step by step, as it's too early. Dupre isn't ready to throw in the towel, but he's over 2 hours behind Coma. In 2007 at the rest day I was 17th, but it was me that took home the Dakar in 2007. Duclos leads the race into Bolivia, and he knows he can take control if others fail. There are 4,000 kilometers more, and they will make mistakes, and I won't be far behind them if they do. All sorts of changes awaited the riders as the race route was altered from the word go in stage 7. Rain and low cloud that grounded the medical helicopters in the early morning. And then the choppers eventually took off. They had to stay low on the way up to the stage start, all the while hoping for the cloud layer to lift. With time ticking away, plans were put forward to alter the stage or change the start point to make the best of the conditions. Until finally, there was some good news.
Okay. Go.
Right, let's go. And with that, the race could begin at checkpoint 3. So it all got going at kilometer 104, just south of the border into Bolivia. There were big crowds out cheering on Bolivian rider Juan Carlos Salvatierra, who's 16th overall. It's an incredible sensation. No one thought we'd be here. It's just one of the most emotional moments of my life. For everybody, Bolivia was a new challenge, all done at altitude. Barreda led the first part of the special. Starting 4th, he was able to follow the trail of the riders ahead and limit his mistakes. But still, a gap of 4 minutes 30 to second was very healthy lead come waypoint 8. Duclos, the man that started first, had to lead the navigation, and he was caught out just after a checkpoint, taking the wrong path and losing a costly 8 minutes 30 in that moment alone. On a close stage, it was the end of his challenge at the top for today. It was the best day for Kuba Shigonski, the KTM rider who pits out of the factory tent, was in the top 5 from checkpoint 5 and closing on 4th all the time. In the end, it wasn't enough, but it ended the day 5th, 8:56 from the leader. Race leader Coma started slowly, but by kilometer 140, he was up into second place and closing on Barreda. He knows he has to mark the Honda rider stage by stage and was running strongly all day. Jeremias Israel has a big Dakar following in his native Chile, and he started brilliantly. Heading towards the Bolivian border, running 4th early on and racing hard, he'd bring the speed brain home in 6th position. In front of the Bolivian crowd, Salvatierra had his best day of the rally, finishing 14:40 off the best time, but surely loving every minute of racing at home on the second of the speed brain machines. The second half of the day's racing began with the main climb of the day, 600 metres to the high point, just shy of 4,000. From there, the race appeared to settle towards the finish. Gaps were maintained and the established order stood firm. The top of that order was Juan Barreda, just off the timing charts for most of the day, but he excelled on the fast tracks as he did in day 1, taking the tape 4:03 ahead of his closest challenger. By the end, that was still Mark Coma, defending his lead in the standings all day long. The Red Bull KTM rider was happy to get to the finish of the marathon without any major problems in the day. Dupre too was a man who played the opener at the marathon stage safe. In fact, team orders came into play. His backup rider Mecha, who had started ahead on the day, waited shortly after the start to ride his backup for his team leader for the rest of the stage. Dupre came home third, 1:32 behind Roma. Juan Pedrero rounded out the top four. The two Sherco riders seemed to swap good and bad days with each other. This time it was the turn of the Spaniards to have a good day. His fourth place a just reward after losing 4 hours and 30 on stage 6, but now he's no threat to the overall leaders. So on a fast stage, it was a healthy gap for Bereda, 4:03 Tacoma, Dupre at 5:35, Pedrero 6:57 and Shigonski 8:56 back on the day. In the overall, Bereda's closed the gap slightly, it's down to 38:14. Villadoms is up into third, 1 hour 16 behind, just 32 seconds over Duclos. There were 17 quads that left Salta this morning.